drips and drips away. Days burn, disintegrate. Years roll along and fade. Don't let them slip away. Right here, right now, today. These are the good old days. Right here, right now, today. Hey, these are the good old days.
In 1982, when Mattel released the Masters of the Universe action figure line, they created an entire world for castles and villains and heroes and vehicles for He-Man and Skeletor to do battle in. One of the coolest things that came out of this world building was Battle Cat, the steed upon which He-Man would ride. Now, Battle Cat wasn't always part of the plan. When looking for a vehicle for He-Man to ride, Mattel looked at what molds they already had. They had this big cat that was previously used for a Tarzan Black Panther, and then later for a Big Jim Tiger. Now, this cat wasn't to scale, but that didn't matter, because this world they were creating was full of fantasy and adventure. Now, they took that big cat mold, painted it green, put some orange stripes on it, and armored it up for He-Man to ride, and an instant classic was born. Battle Cat is almost as recognizable as He-Man himself. They would later go on to reuse the mold itself in the line, giving Skeletor a cat to ride as well, Panther. So a few months ago, when we made our custom Wun-Dar, or Wonder Bread He-Man, or Savage He-Man figure, who has quickly become one of my favorite figures on the shelf, I thought that to start this year, we could make him a custom cat to ride as well. And I released some teaser images online on all of our social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, across the board to see what we should name this cat. Now, I made a couple suggestions myself, and a couple of you made suggestions as well, and there were some great ideas. But we'll reveal the name that we call this cat after we show you how we made it.
Even a one-armed army can't stop He-Man and Battle Cat. You win this time, He-Man!
So originally I was going to take a vintage Cringer and repaint it up. But since I recently acquired a 3D printer, I thought I would just 3D print up a model to paint. I would hate if someone was looking for a vintage Cringer to come on here and see me painting one to make it custom. So it cost about the same amount of money to buy a beat up Cringer as it would be to just to print one off with a saddle on it. So I printed one up. Now, due to the size of my 3D printer, I had to print off this cat in several pieces, and then the first step will be to glue these pieces together. Alright, so we've got our cat glued together here just using super glue, but there are some visible joints here, so what I'm going to do to fill those in so you don't really see them as much is I have some drywall compound here that I'm just going to spread into those cracks and smooth out. So just using my fingers, I've spread some compound into those joints here, and then I'm going to take a damp paper towel and just wipe off the excess, and we should have some filled in joints there. Alright, now that I have all my joints filled in with that drywall compound, as you can see here, I'm going to start painting this. Now I've decided to use some black paint for the saddle, so it's going to match Wun-Dar's armor, and it's going to be kind of a matching color motif. I'm just using simple acrylic paint. I'm going to give it a few light coats just so I get some good coverage on it. And now that we have the saddle painted, next we're going to paint the mouth and the teeth, and we're going to be painting the inside of the mouth just a basic, very kind of nice poppy red color here, again just using some acrylic paint. It would be easy or neat to kind of be very elaborate with the painting, but I really want this custom to fit into the vintage Motu line, so I'm going to paint the mouth just very basic, much like the old Battle Cat and Panther cats were painted themselves. And after we have the mouth painted red, we're going to paint the teeth a nice, bright, crisp white color so they really pop, and they're going to look great, just like the old Battle Cat and Panther teeth used to look. And next up, we're going to be painting the main body of this cat. I'm going to be using cinnamon brown, which is the same color we use for Wun-Dar's hair and trunks. And then I think it's going to look really great when the color scheme on this cat and figure match perfectly. So we're just going to put, again, a couple nice thin coats on this so it really pops and looks good. Now, while that first coat is drying, I'm going to give him a little bit of a black nose here. I'm not going to go too much extra detail in deco, trying to keep him looking like a vintage figure, but I'm going to give him a little black nose here. Alright, and the last little bit of deco that we're going to give this cat is we're going to just give him some green eyes with a little cat kind of pupil in there just to finish him off. Alright, now that we have our cat painted the way we want him to, the last step is just to do a clear coat on top to give him a bit of a gloss and not such a matte look here. So I'm just going to paint on this clear coat that's going to dry nice and clear for us, and he's going to be all done.
So there you go. There's our build on a big cat for a Wun-Dar to ride around on. I think he looks great, and I'm very excited about having him as part of our collection and up on the display. Now, as far as the name of this cat, there was a few suggestions that I put out, and people put in a few suggestions. Some were really good, some were really funny, a lot of Carol Baskin jokes, but the one that was chosen by all the people that commented, it was a very clear victory that this cat will be called Slice. So Wun-Dar, from henceforth, will be riding on the big cat named Slice into battle. If you like what we're doing here, if you had as much fun as us today, like, subscribe, ring the bell, all the YouTube stuff, and we'll see you next time.